Sabah everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about the P20 Pro and why you should consider it as your next device to purchase. It has a lot of things to offer and definitely things that you may not see on paper initially after using it. Now, I've had it for about 3 weeks now. It's been available since the 6th. So I want to share with you guys my top 5 reasons why you should consider the P20 Pro as your next device. This is TK. Let's check them out. First and foremost, whenever I talk about the P20 Pro, specifically the Twilight version that I have here, you're always going to be looking at the aesthetics and the design of this device. And that's going to be my number one reason. The P20 Pro has by far one of the best colors on a mobile device, and that purplish hue turning into a blue hue at the end here, the Twilight color. But the main benefit, of course, is this design. We have 4,000 milliamp battery built into it, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage. So, I mean, on spec, on paper, this thing is a boss. And not only that, supporting 3 sensors in the back, giving us a 40 megapixel sensor that's basically just the biggest that you can find on the market. A 20 megapixel monochrome sensor, and an 8 megapixel telephoto sensor that gives us the ability of doing not only 2 times optical zoom, but 3 times optical zoom, and then up to 5 times hybrid zoom using the 40 megapixel sensor. So you're not going to be disappointed when it comes to the back camera on this device. We have not only that, we have a light meter built in here, not just an LED flash, as well as a laser autofocus. So a lot of tech in the back of this device, and this is again still on the outside of it. We haven't even gone in. Volume rocker and power on the right, a 6.1 inch display, OLED display, and of course, yes, we do have the notch, one of the fastest fingerprint sensors on the market. I mean, I barely touched it, and you guys could see it unlocked. And of course, the display itself really looks very nice. I'm going to say this now that the notch is not that big of a deal. Once you use it for about a couple of days, it doesn't even show up and you don't even see it anymore. And the apps really go pretty well around it. Now, speaking of that camera and the reason why I wanted to share this with you guys, I wanted to share with you guys this quick little image here. I started off by taking this picture, and this picture is taken right there. This is no zoom. This is just turning it on. It's on auto, and I'm not even zooming in. Now, zooming in once, this is 3 times zoom, and zooming in one more time, this is 5 times hybrid zoom. So you could see the subject here, and from this angle, that's how far we were in. This is not a cropped in or a zoomed in image. This is actually using the optical zoom. The camera itself has 1 time, 2 time, and 5 times zoom. And the 5 time is a hybrid zoom. So 1 time and 2 time by far already. Basically, this is where their optical zoom comes in. And the UI on the camera is super nice and super easy to use. You have the aperture mode to be able to create that bokeh effect and to dial it down to the level you want. Night mode is just a boss when it comes over to night shots. But what I mean by the night shot is really one of the best ones on the market. It's behind the fact that the handheld exposure, the long exposure on the camera, gives us the ability of taking pictures like these, almost like the actual subject is during daylight. And it sits there and it takes a 4-second shot and it basically exposes it for the right light. And that's one of the main benefits of the camera. And that's really only done with the night mode. And when you take it, it'll basically start and it'll do that counter. And once that's done, it processes the image. Now, portrait mode is still there. We have the ability of going in and changing different modes as far as, focus mode and different daylights. And that's really more meant to kind of give you a better portrait image. This is different, obviously, than what we get for the aperture mode. Of course, we have photo mode, which is our standard default auto mode. We have video mode, we have pro, and then pro really gets in very nicely to be able to dial in those images. So by far, I think the camera is the number 2 thing that you need to consider when wanting to look at this device. They're going to give you the tech that you can't get with any other device at this time. The next thing that's going to be one of the best things that you probably didn't notice about this is the fact that the audio experience on this device is really, really nice. I mean, I'm going to say this from the aspect of just all the different ways you can experience audio. Now, we have stereo speakers. We have one of the speakers right up there, and then one of the speakers at the bottom. This gives us the ability of having great audio and great video quality. And let's just go ahead and just listen to this real quick.
Slim, and this one actually has an aluminum frame on the outside, so you can get that nice cool metal feeling in your hand on this case. And of course,
and just in case you guys were wondering, yes, you are able to do the pinch to zoom on this, and you'll be able to basically get it to fit the screen. Even though this is a 6.1 18.7 by 9, it still has the ability of going in full screen for you, and you'll get the maximize. Although it does not go over the notch, so that's one thing they did with the software so that you don't have that problem. So if the notch is concerning you in video, you're never going to see it. It actually acts like a bar. But other than that, though, the sound quality is very nice. You have Dolby Atmos configuration on the wired and the speakers. So you have right there Dolby Atmos. You can go in there and customize the sound, change the experience from movie music or options. And then as far as just basically going into the EQ, when you have a headset plugged in using the dongle, you'll be able to configure that. It supports aptX on Bluetooth. Really good, very, very nice. And I really love the fact that we have just a really nice experience on this as far as audio. The next thing I think you guys should consider about this device is the display. We not only have a 6.1-inch display that has that notch, but it has a really good way of using it. But the fact that it's a 1080p panel married with the 970 chipset as well as the 4000 milliamp battery, you're going to be getting extreme, like really long screen on times. And I'll be able to get between 5 to 6 hours. Now, if you're on airplane mode and you're traveling on a long flight, I was able to go through, I think it was about 6 episodes of Jessica Jones on a flight back from Paris. And the battery wasn't even down 20%. And I had it running about 90% at the beginning. So screen on time with the 1080p, the 970, and obviously the EMUI customizations that you get there, you're not going to be disappointed. So screen experience, watching movies, listening to music, watching them and listening to them on Bluetooth, you're not going to be disappointed. And the fact we have a 4000 milliamp battery in this thing. So it's going to be really amazing, and it's going to be the best experience that you can get. Again, in this form factor, this is not that bad. And the last thing, again, I want to mention, as I mentioned to you, I have 5 things. The fifth thing is the navigation options. I'm running Nova Launcher on top of it. This is Nova Prime. And the reason behind that is because I like to do everything on my devices in gestures. So what I've done here essentially is I've used the home button at the bottom. They have a gesture built-in functionality. So you can swipe from the left, you open up recent applications, and then let's go ahead and we'll do this. We'll go into the Dolby Atmos option. Pressing it once takes us back. And then, of course, if I swipe from the bottom up, I get the ability of going into Google Now, and that opens up right there. But what I do with Nova is augment the searches. So if I swipe from the middle of my screen, I have App Search. If I swipe down, I bring down the notification panel. Double tapping takes me into Google Now. And of course, I have the ability of basically customizing additional gestures, but you still have access to, this is the knuckle gestures that we have with Huawei. And these things are still functional. You're able to customize them, use them. You can even do app split if you have the application open, and you'll be able to do it. So let's go ahead and do it here. And I can split it, and then it opens up multi-window. So a lot of options that you can do, not only with built-in features, but as well as augmenting them. And the fact that we have 6 gigs of RAM, you're not going to be disappointed. It's going to have enough horsepower and resources to let you play and have one of the best launchers on the market, or even if you like to stick with EMUI, you're definitely going to be covered here. The P20 and the P20 Pro have a lot of similar things going on for them. Obviously, the triple camera setup, what makes this stand out on its own with the 3x optical zoom, 5x hybrid zoom, is only available on the P20. Importing it and using it in the US is going to be a really nice experience. And the reason behind that is it supports dual voice over LTE or dual LTE chipset on the dual SIMs that we have here. And what that means is in the US, on T-Mobile or on AT&T, you're going to get the best experience. Now on AT&T, I think if I'm not mistaken, I did this speed test one time and I was getting like 40 down and about 40 up. Even with T-Mobile, I was about 30 and 35 up. So the experience here, you're going to get really fast connectivity, long battery life, great audio, great pictures. Just overall, one of the best things about this device is that it's just a really nice put together package. And then to top it off, the design on this device, just the color itself, as you guys can see there, is just so unique. It just basically begs to turn people's heads asking, what is this device? Why do you have 3 cameras on the back? So pushing the technology, giving us great tech and great updates. I've received 1 update since the device has actually been out. Huawei knocked it out of the park. If you're considering a flagship device in 2018, what you're getting with the P20 Pro is definitely top-notch, best experience. And, obviously there's some compromises, but at least at this point, this should be able to give you guys a hint that you should consider the P20 Pro or even the P20 if you're willing to go with the dual camera setup. This is TK. I want to say thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual, and I'll see you guys in the next video.